Hello guys, James here. Hope you're doing well out there today, this evening. Well, whoa, what happened to the? Oh, I can't tap it. I want to show you the difference between Umar Johnson and President Trump, and I'm gonna make just show a couple clips of them and what's going on. I'm gonna show you what kind of personality that they have, and then I'll come back with my commentary.
You don't need a second job. You just need to learn how to talk to AI. Let's be real. Most people over 40.
When one of us hurts, all of us hurts. What I find so hypocritical about your community, Miss Black Lives Matter, is y'all preach tolerance. I thought Black Lives Matter was for all black people. I get it. Black Lives Matter is only for black people who support rainbow games.
So, Dr. Umar is out here crying about being canceled, but let's be real. How do you cancel something that never even took off? The so-called school, still just a promise, doors locked, lights off, and not a single student in sight. Meanwhile, his enemies list keeps getting longer, but those Cash App donations, still rolling in strong like nothing's wrong. This ain't cancel culture. This is accountability pulling up hard on a man who still doesn't even have a door to answer with. Now let's talk about that latest video, dropped just days ago on his King Kong Consciousness channel. For a full 7 minutes, Umar rants and rages about being silenced, about shadowy groups plotting, about haters trying to shut him down. He calls it cancel culture, but when you really listen, there's no answers, no receipts, no solutions. Just yelling, finger pointing, and dodging the real question everyone's been asking since day one. Where is the school? The school talk always starts the same way. Umar runs through his titles, name drops his enemies, brags about his credentials, and then flips straight into victim mode. But notice what's missing. No plan, no timeline, no real accountability. Instead of solutions, he leans harder into wild conspiracies and emotional outbursts.
Think they can consume their way into acceptance. I need you to understand me.
We're challenging the standard of what comes standard. Get this low predictions on this 2026 GMC train elevation for around $319 per month.
And consume their way into acceptance. I need you to understand me. I need you to shake that booty. I'm blocking you, brother. We don't do that here. We don't do that. I'm sorry, my brother. This is not a rainbow game.
Hoping his followers get distracted by the noise. It's all theater. Loud, dramatic, but completely empty when it comes to real progress. And let's not forget, this so-called Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey Academy has been coming soon for over a decade. We're talking 10 plus years of speeches, fundraisers, rallies, and non-stop Cash App tags flashing like neon lights. Every single time someone dares to ask, "Hey Umar, where's the school?" he fires back with excuses. First it was the haters, then the system, and now he's blaming cancel culture. But here's the real plot twist. The biggest obstacle stopping this school isn't the haters, the system, or any imaginary cancel mobs. It's Umar himself. This man announced his big academy dream back when Obama was still in the White House. That's not one president, that's 2 presidents ago. And still, nothing but excuses, delays, and rants on camera. 3 Spider-Man reboots, a global pandemic, and still not even one real school to show for it. Cancel culture didn't misplace paperwork, cancel culture didn't forget to hire contractors, and cancel culture didn't leave that building boarded up like a scene straight out of The Walking Dead. That was all you, Dr. Umar. And yet, through all of it, the donations just kept rolling in like clockwork.
How dare you try to stop me from coming to Pittsburgh? How dare you try to get me canceled from today's Black Health Inequity Summit? How dare you?
This has turned into the longest running Kickstarter in history. No product, no ribbon cutting, and no results. Think about it. There are parents who gave money back when their kids were in elementary school. Now those same kids are old enough to be in college, maybe even close to graduating, and Umar still hasn't unlocked the doors to his so-called academy. That's not just a delay. That's a straight-up decade of broken promises. And while Umar points fingers, ranting about Black Lives Matter, here's where things get messy. Because he isn't the only one playing this game. Look at BLM during its peak. They raised tens of millions of dollars in donations. And everyday people truly believed they were funding real Angeles, luxury retreats, and first-class travel. So when Umar screams about cancel culture and corruption, the irony cuts deep, because the very hustle he calls out looks a whole lot like the hustle he's been running himself. So here's where the cracks really start to show. Dr. Umar Johnson built his entire brand on being the loudest voice in the room.
But the founder of Black Lives Matter Pittsburgh tried to get me canceled from today's convention because I don't support rainbow gaining. I'm the foremost certified school psychologist for our people in this country. I'm not coming to Pittsburgh to talk about rainbow gaining.
The self-proclaimed Prince of Pan-Africanism, the savior who was going to build a school for black boys, free from the so-called system, free from white control, free from government strings. That's the vision he sold for over 10 years. And people believed him. They believed in him so much they sent their hard-earned dollars, some giving small donations, others giving hundreds, even thousands, because the promise was so powerful. But here's the harsh truth. Promises don't educate kids. Promises don't build classrooms. Promises don't hire teachers. And after more than a decade of promises, Umar still has nothing but boarded up buildings and endless excuses to show for it. That's not leadership, that's manipulation. Let's take it back for a second. When Umar first announced the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, it hit like a thunderbolt. It was a man saying, I don't need government funding, I don't need corporate handouts, I don't need approval from the system. I'm gonna do this with the people's money. And that sounded revolutionary. People rallied behind it, people saw it as a chance to create something historic. But fast forward more than 10 years, and what do we have? No accreditation, no functioning classrooms, no timetable.
I don't have to agree with your lifestyle in order to fight for my people. But you would dare try to get me canceled because I don't agree with your lifestyle. What I find so hypocritical about your community is y'all preach tolerance. Y'all want everybody to be tolerant towards you. You want everybody to be tolerant about you, but you don't want to tolerate nobody else's opinion. You don't want to tolerate anybody else's perspective.
No transparency. The same PayPal links and Cash App tags that were there back in the Obama era are still there today. The only thing that's actually grown is Umar's following and his enemies list. He's got energy for calling people coons, haters, agents, spies, but where's that same energy when it comes to laying out a real plan? And here's the part that burns the most for his supporters. Every time the heat turns up, Umar deflects. If it's not haters trying to stop him, it's the system blocking him. And now it's cancel culture targeting him. But you can't cancel something that doesn't exist. You can't silence results when there are no results to silence. All you've got left is noise. And Umar has become a master of making noise.
Well, that's the personality of Umar. Now, let's go to Donald Trump. See, what do they have in common?
Donald Trump gave a speech at the United Nations General Assembly this morning, and it was a disaster. At certain points, it was actually inconceivable what I was watching, and that's saying something, because this is Donald J. Trump. But I guess I wake up every morning and I pray for just one day that this guy can be a little normal, be a little coherent. But no, this was a disaster. It was a practical campaign speech. He's shitting on other countries, excuse my language, but I mean, I don't know how else to say this. He's saying horrible things about other countries, ranting about his great poll numbers. It's all ridiculous, and we're going to go through all of it. My name's Chris Mowry, by the way. I'm filling in for Adam Mockler on the Adam Mockler channel. Yes, I need a haircut. I know, it's coming. Don't worry. So if you want to see more of me, and I promise I'll have a haircut when you do, you can go right back down below and check out my YouTube channel. There's a link in the description. On this channel, the Adam Mockler channel, we're trying to build something big to punch back against MAGA media. I say it every single time. Moving into 2026, 2028, fight back against this, frankly, powerhouse of a Republican machine that's always just pumping so much disinformation. We're trying to compete against that, uplift Gen Z voices. If you want to be a part of it, all you have to do is click subscribe down below. It goes such a long way. All right, Adam has lined up a few clips for me, some of which I have not watched. So let's react together. The first clip, we'll set the stage here. Take a listen.
You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, I feel like that perfectly sets the stage. Donald Trump getting in front of the UN and literally telling all of these countries to their faces, your countries are going to hell. I'm amazing at this. Is he a narcissist? Of course not. How could anybody ever suggest that Donald Trump is a narcissist? Let's go to the next clip.
Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
First of all, Donald Trump is such a moron, but this relates to the fact that teleprompter was broken, and also when he was actually going to speak, the escalator broke. As soon as Melania Trump, you see here in this video, as soon as she stepped on the elevator, it stopped working, it broke. But also the teleprompter wasn't working, him threatening whoever was in control of the teleprompter. He also threatened whoever broke the escalator, because this was him walking up to speak right before he spoke. And as soon as Melania steps on the escalator, it breaks, it stops working. Donald Trump very upset about this. You know, they can't get the escalators right, they can't get the teleprompters right. I'm God. Everybody bow down to me. Again, I don't ever understand how people can look at this guy as like relatable at all, you know? Can you just be a human being? Sometimes things break. You know, we're not all perfect. I don't care that you're the president of the United States. Before we get into some of the other clips, a quick summary of all of this. I've set the stage a little bit. Donald Trump's, you know, the teleprompter breaking, the escalator breaking, him threatening people, him saying, well, I'm the best, your countries are shit, I'm the best, whoever is breaking these things is in trouble. And a good summary from Twitter: your countries all suck, none of you know what you're doing, the US is better at everything, it's all because of me, I'm right about everything, you should listen to me and do what I say, and give me lots of awards. That was pretty much the summary. So let's hop right into it and take a look at the true first clip.
To protect our citizens, I've also designated multiple savage drug cartels as far as you see this, and you see it happening right before your eyes. Let's put it this way, people don't like taking big loads of drugs in boats anymore. There aren't too many boats that are traveling on the seas by Venezuela. They tend not to want to travel very quickly anymore. And we virtually stopped drugs coming into our country by sea. We call them the water drugs. They kill hundreds of thousands of people.
Is working hard to manage migraine one big nope? It may be time to say yep to
Let me go back to that video. You see how the personality of Umar Johnson is? You see how the personality of Donald Trump is? Have you noticed that it's the same thing? They don't admit anything. They don't, if something go wrong, they just, 100 people can tell him, like, hey man, you know what you're doing is wrong. You know, even when he went to the UN, and I mean, he was just real narcissistic. Like, I mean,
a UN diplomat just slammed Donald Trump after his humiliating speech to the General Assembly. The remarks were so self-serving and ridiculous that this senior official couldn't hold back and delivered a brutal rebuke that's now making headlines around the world. So stick around to see how this UN official destroyed Donald Trump on the world stage, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Now, in order to understand why this UN diplomat slammed Trump, we first need to take a look at the speech that Donald Trump gave today. Because I gotta be honest, it was truly horrendous, and even more so than usual. To start things off, Trump was back to making up fake numbers again to brag about how well our economy is supposedly doing.
In just 8 months since I took office, we have secured commitments and money already paid for $17 trillion. Think of it, 4 years, less than $1 trillion, 8 months, much more than $17 trillion. is being invested in the United States, and it's now pouring in from all parts of the world. We've implemented the largest tax cuts in American history and the largest regulation cuts in American history, making this once and again the best country on earth to do business.
I want you to keep in mind that the entire US GDP is $30 trillion, so there's no way that this math adds up here. Next up, Trump insinuates what I can only interpret as wanting to murder illegal immigrants in this speech, and you can literally hear the UN diplomats murmur uncomfortably in response. Just take a look at this.
The Biden administration. Our message is very simple. If you come illegally into the United States, you're going to jail, or you're going back to where you came from, or perhaps even further than that. You know what that means. I want to thank the country of El Salvador for the successful and professional job they've done in receiving and jailing so many criminals that entered our country.
That is insane. No person, much less the president, should ever say something like that. Trump is an absolute disgrace to this country and needs to resign immediately. Next, Trump decided to take a more lighthearted turn and start complaining about things that happened at this UN assembly. And of course, he was complaining that his teleprompter didn't work and that his escalator didn't work either.
Got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. Just went off. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier.
I just want to say that people laughing at the UN aren't laughing with Trump, they're laughing at him. Nobody would take a very important meeting like this to complain about technical issues like Trump did. But I will say, there is actually a clip of the escalator, and it is quite hilarious. Just take a look at this.
President Trump.
President Trump Jr.
It seriously looks like that escalator was turned off right when he stepped on, which is just so funny to me. But Trump wasn't done complaining there. Oh no, he was actually just getting started, because here's him complaining that he didn't get to build the building that they are standing in. Seriously.
You spend it, you budget it, you save it, but do you invest it? With Acorns, you can invest a little every day.
To build the building that they are standing in. Seriously.
Many years ago, a very successful real estate developer in New York, known as Donald J. Trump, I bid on the renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex. I remember it so well. I said at the time that I would do it for $500 million, rebuilding everything. It would be beautiful. I used to talk about, I'm going to give you marble floors. They're going to give you terrazzo. I'm going to give you the best of everything. You're going to have mahogany walls. They're going to give you plastic. But they decided to go in another direction, which was much more expensive at the time, which actually produced a far inferior product. And I realized that they did not know what they were doing when it came to construction, and that their building concepts were so wrong, and the product that they were proposing to build was so bad and so costly. It was going to cost them a fortune. And I said, and wait till you see the overruns. Well, I turned out to be right. They had massive cost overruns and spent between $2 and $4 billion on the building and did not even get the marble floors that I promised them. You walk on terrazzo. Do you notice that? As far as I'm concerned, frankly, looking at the building and getting stuck on the escalator, they still haven't finished the job. They still haven't finished. That was years ago.
Oh my God.
This UN assembly is not the time or place to be talking about this. But what else could you expect from our baby of a president? Speaking of things that this was not the time or place for, here's Trump back to saying that he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
Now, after ending all of these wars and also earlier negotiating the Abraham Accords, which is a very big thing for which
What
Our
wars?
country received no credit, never receives credit. Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements. But for me, the real prize will be the sons and daughters who live to grow up with their mothers and fathers, because millions of people are no longer being killed in endless and unglorious wars.
Trump cannot stop complaining that he has not received a Nobel Peace Prize, which is both funny, but then also completely embarrassing.
Oh
Now,
my
I gotta say,
God.
this has all been pretty bad, but it's not nearly as bad as what Trump said next. Because Trump directly insulted all of the countries represented at the UN. He literally says that they are going to hell. Just take a look at this.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. We have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. You have to do that because I see it. I'm not mentioning names, I see it, and I can call every single one of them out. You're destroying your countries. They're being destroyed. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody has ever, and nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. When your prisons are filled with so-called asylum seekers who repaid kindness, and that's what they did, they repaid kindness with crime, it's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration. Once we started detaining and deporting everyone who crossed the border and removing illegal aliens from the United States, they simply stopped coming. They're not coming anymore. We're getting a lot of credit, but they're not coming anymore.
With all of these insane moments, I think it's easy to see how Trump left the UN diplomats disgusted, bored, and completely horrified. And this, of course, led this one diplomat to slam Trump and completely call him out. While Trump was speaking at the General Assembly, a Washington Post correspondent said that he received a text message from a senior foreign diplomat who was at the UN. This diplomat said, "This man is stark, raving mad. Do Americans not see how embarrassing this is?" And all I gotta say is, yes, we see how embarrassing it is. From all of us who are not completely brainwashed, we are sorry that this man is our president. Trust us, we didn't want him either. Trump's speech today was a complete disaster, and I think it's only a matter of time before we get even more diplomats and elected officials calling out Trump. But until then, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more.
Yeah, I agree with both of those videos, and the reason why I put these videos together because what President Trump has in common with Dr. Umar, they're narcissistic, they're arrogant, they just have no common sense. They say anything, completely moronic off their mind, and you would think that these men, Umar is in his 50s, and I think the President Trump is 79 years old. He sound like some old civilian person back and just saying something that when I get in front of these people, I'm going to tell you what I think about it, and don't use any common sense. Yeah, he got some people out. But did he tell you the F up that he did when with the South Koreans? Did he tell you that that there's some representative out of Georgia because of the way he handled things, Nazi style. Did he tell you about the HB visas? X phenomenal that is so high that they don't even want to come to this country. That they're skilled people that were going to train American workers. That they get caught up with this, but yet he said he want people caught up with this heavy. Did he mention that? Did he mention? Did he mention it? Because right now, he has spoiled it for a lot of people. They don't even want. They don't even want to the point that they trying to flip it on American citizens. Because I'm going to show you something that his bright idea. Look what he did with this. For the people that come.
One platform means one hand to shake, one bill to pay, and one easy-to-use practice management software.
I think I may have found out the real reason why the H-1B fees has been hiked up to $100,000. Again, this is a connection of dots, and I'll come to that in just a moment. But let's first take a look at the latest developments. I'm going to share with you a slide deck. A small request to all of you: please like this video, and if you have not already subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. Here we go. 100K per H-1B application. This is now only for new applicants. It does not apply to existing H-1B visa holders. It's possible that they may be revisiting this at the time of renewal, but as of now, there is no such thing. And if they are in fact outside of the United States, they don't have to rush back. Although Google, Microsoft, and several other companies such as JP Morgan have sent advisories to get back as quickly as possible. So in fact, they've said get back before 21st of September. I'm also hearing a lot of horror stories about what people are trying to do, get to the airports to try and leave, and that's a story on its own. So that's what is happening. Now let's take a quick look at what is the premise here. The premise is that if you are a new H-1B holder, then your employer will need to pay a fees of $100,000 per year. So for a 3-year H-1B visa holder, the total amount that's going to be on top of the salaries that they would be paid is $100,000 times 3, or $300,000. And this is under a section that has so far stood the rigor of the court process, which means most likely the Trump administration has carefully chosen this, and they have done it. And there will be some legal challenges, but I don't hold out much hope. That's all I wanted to say. Now, what else is happening? They are also offering something called as a gold card. There's also a platinum card, and we'll talk about both these things. It's an immigration pathway alongside restrictions on H-1B, marking the latest efforts to crack down on immigration and impose sharp limits on foreigners entering the US. By the way, even tourist visas, the fees has been hiked up by $250. And India will probably follow suit. Any of the Americans who want to visit India, they will have to pay proportionately higher fees. This is going to happen, I'm sure of that. $250 more. So now the effective application, I'm told, for foreign visas is $442. A steep sum if you'll ask me. Okay, so there is a expedited path for US residency. The details are not clear, but what one needs to do, if you're an individual, if you have $1 million to pay, then it will give you an accelerated pathway to US permanent residency. The payment is described as a non-refundable gift to the US Department of Commerce. However, there's a processing fee of, I think, 18,500 or something like that, or 15,000, I don't remember, I think 15,000. And if you don't get this, that 15,000 is forfeited. So please remember that also. So you have to come up with $1,015,000 to do this. As to how you can raise that kind of money in India, it's anyone's guess. I think you'll have to go to RBI and get permission to get special funding. So, well, who knows whether it will happen or not. The second option is for a corporate to sponsor you as a highly motivated, developed individual, and you can pay, they will pay $2 million, and then on that you can get into the company, and then you will have an accelerated path to a green card. Now, it's also possible that you may have quit that, or you may return back. If somebody else gets in your place, for them, the employer does not have to pay an extra money. You can still use that. Some flexibility there. Then there's the platinum card. $5 million immediate green card. It is sort of like a EB5 on steroids, if you will. EB5
2025 has a slightly different restrictions. This one is, again, US, it shows you that US is desperate for money and they really need the money, and why they need the money desperately, I'll do that as a separate show, viewers, because you need to go into some specifics of treasury and what happens, how does deficit get handled by the United States according to the Constitution, and so on and so forth. So these are the three things: gold card individual, gold card employer, and platinum card. Now, this has been computed by an individual, so I don't have any way to verify it, but these are the companies who have a lot of exposure to H1B, and they'll have to come out and say whether it is true or not. I'm just going to leave it there, and let's see what they come up and say. So this is still, again, not verified. Some of them seem correct, but I don't know. That's why I wanted to put it out there. But this is the list of 14 companies that are exposed to H1B. What is the clarification here? FD fees targeting individuals applying for the next lottery cycle. So essentially what happens is, this is for fresh H1B applications, and when the application is submitted, you will have to show proof that the employer has already put the $100,000. And I think if you don't get it, that money will be refunded back. There may be a processing fees that you may not get. Details are there, but let's not worry about it. Already holding H1B visas are exempt from the new fee and will not be charged to re-enter the US. What is not said is, whenever that comes up for renewal, will then the employer be asked to pay the $100,000? My gut feeling is that yes. So let's wait and see. In response to the initial panic, which led to some companies to advise employees abroad to rush back, the clarification confirmed there was no need for current visa holders to return before the September 21st, 2025 deadline. We've been talking endlessly about this. 2025 September 19th proclamation really sparked alarm, and I still hold that the H1B program is gone. US tech companies including Amazon, Microsoft, JP Morgan initially advised their H1B and H4 visa holding employees who were outside the US to return immediately to avoid being subject to the new fees. The fee increase is expected to face legal challenges regarding its statutory authority. However, I must tell you, under the same clause, the US in the first term of Trump administration had banned people from 6 different countries from entering United States. That's why the catch is when they are entering the country. Remember, that is the important thing. At that point, they have a lot of leeway. I remember in the 90s, what used to happen was many people used to board the plane in India, and then they would flush their passport down the toilet, and when they were getting out of the plane, at the immigration, they would just utter one word: I need asylum. And then the United States will be forced to process this person for asylum. And there will be no passport. These kind of things have done. And they'll make up a story saying that, oh, I escaped by the skin of the teeth. Somehow a kind-hearted person helped me to get into the plane. All kinds of cock and bull stories which were poached by some immigration attorneys used to happen. Then, you know how US countered that? What they used to do was, see, I saved 50% on my car insurance.
I'm gonna leave it at that. Wow, that's so. If you're an American that goes overseas, I hope whatever country you go to on business or go there for educational purpose, I'm praying that one country don't do that to you. You might be a college student, you might be a person on a church trip, missionary, you can be a digital traveler, whatever. I hope they don't start doing it because what Trump doing to these people, because people starting to reflect what counteract what, especially from country to country to country. So I'm hoping that they don't do Americans that leave the country like that, who have companies or going over there on business, and they gotta be there for a certain amount of time because of restrictions because we're over here. But nice going, Trump. So now you're trying to build up America, but now I understand that something like that does happen. But man, what the companies that don't? What about the companies like Hyundai that wanted to send the engineers over here? What about the other ones that come over to train American workers or come on American ideas, and from marketing companies or all these tech marketing, all these different other agencies. Could you imagine what they got to go through? And for you guys that do international travel, you know, I feel sorry for you high level, high professional people. He effed it up for, you know, main things. So hopefully, whatever your business travel is, that the government, the country where you're going to, they won't have to do you the same way. But he really did this, and see, he has to, you know, give credit and everything to himself, just like Umar Johnson. You know, he whines like a big baby, and you know, I don't know. It's just that it's crazy. But this is what this video was basically just showing you the comparisons. What a narcissist personality he is. Umar Johnson was a narcissist because he just, every time when people go asking about something, he deflects. He does the same thing like Trump. He'll deflect and blame it on people on social media. He'll deflect and say it was the city that was trying to hold him back. He'll deflect just like Trump on things like, you know, why the building is not open. He never give a blueprint. All he does is do a lot of talking with his mouth, just like Trump. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, they'll read down a piece of paper and tell you what's being done, but we don't know it in the public what they're doing. Just like Trump, you know, he does the same exact thing. He just say whatever on his mind, foolish things out of his mouth, and people are just supposed to just sit there and agree with it. And if you don't, he gets real nasty with you. You know, he'll call you out your name, just like the president does. And it's just amazing that, you know, like when you parallel, these will show you people from different walks of life and race, that it's the personality of the person. And, you know, narcissism has, to me, it seems like it got a spirit. They both got the same spirit. You know, denial, you know, immaturity, egoness, and things like that. But that's what I just wanted to make this video about. I just want to show you the difference. But Umar travels on, go all these different places on someone else's dollar. Yet, you know, he's not taking care of his own personal business at home when it comes to personal matters. That's been allegedly about people who have been close to him, and he just say anything like the president does. Just say something out of his butt, and it's just that people just look at him like he's crazy, and he seeks validation in everything he do. But anyway, that's all I just want. That was my intake on it. So you guys, you know, you people that's traveling out there, I pray that whatever country you go to, that they don't do you like the United States and Trump administration have done to these other people. And now you see why we're going downhill. So now companies are reluctant to come over. He just ruined business relationships just like that. They're not going to pay that kind of money. That's crazy. Anyway, guys, take care. Be blessed. See you on the next video.